And then tonight we go all the way and we're going to have some soccer in America. And so you literally could bet soccer for 20 hours of the 24 hours a day. It's insane. But Hector, talk to us. Give us some winners.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good segue. Major League Soccer, they're starting up their season. Game 1 for all the teams is this weekend, and there's some games today, Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to go with the Sunday games first. 2 games in MLS that got my interest. Speaking of New York, by the way, that's where the MLS defending champions are located, New York City FC. They're going to take on LA Galaxy, the team that Landon Donovan made famous and now has Chicharito. I think New York City FC has a lot to prove because a lot of people were naysaying them the whole season that they got lucky, they won on penalty kicks in the final, whatever, dude. Like, they're going to use that kind of like Rocky 3 did, or like when everybody was writing him off against Mr. T in the second fight. So I think they're going to use that positively. The coaching staff is. And I don't even consider this an upset, dude. I think New York City FC is legit. I think they want to prove to everybody that it wasn't a fluke season last year. And even though they're playing on the road Sunday at 2 o'clock at Dignity Health Sports Park against LA Galaxy, I like them to win this one. In a close one, but I like them to win this one 2-1.
There's not too many of the handicappers. They all give the plays. Jonathan gets, they all give the plays, but Hector always gives the final score. And you don't have to do that. But it really helps because it offers then you the ability to say, hey, maybe I could look at the total or a second half. If he thinks it's going to be 2-1 and it's 2-1 at halftime, maybe I'm going to bet the under. If he thinks it's 2-1 and it's 0-0 at halftime, maybe I'm going to bet the over for the second half. So I always love that he throws that score in at the end. Actually, continue.
Yeah, I got to throw that in there just to give it some flavor. You know, they don't have to follow it, but I'm definitely liking New York City FC to prove that they're the legit champs. Second game for MLS, I'm liking also on Sunday is Seattle Sounders. Talk about a team that has something to prove as well. A great regular season last year, but they got knocked off in the first round of the playoffs against Real Salt Lake. They're feeling it. They're one of the legit teams for MLS, and they'll make the finals like a bunch of times. They've made it like 4 of the last 6 years or something like that. But they're a super legit team, and they're going to be playing at home against Nashville, who's never been considered really a contender since they joined the league recently. And I don't see this one being close, actually. I think this one's going to be a blowout, and I'm liking Seattle to win it at home 3-0.
Hector, when we first started Wake and Bake, they were in the playoffs. That was pretty exciting. Soccer.
They're a legit team. They've got great players. Michael Bradley came from there, and like their goalkeeper, Fry, is one of the legit goalkeepers in the MLS history. It's just that when you have a great regular season in any sport and you get bounced in the first round, it's almost like a slap in the face for next season. So that's why I'm liking Seattle, especially at home, to open up with a W. And I'm going to finish up the third game. I'm going to go Liga MX. That's the one that I grew up watching. That's one of the teams that I follow. Even though my team's Chivas is like having another horrible season, the good thing is that their rivals, Club America, is having a worse season. So that's a positive for me. Third game that I'm going to be looking at right now is Cruz Azul versus Santos. Cruz Azul playing at Azteca Stadium, their home stadium for now. And Santos being the worst team in Liga MX right now with 0 wins in their 6 or 7 games. So I'm liking Cruz Azul to keep it going. They're the number 4 seed right now, and they're going to be playing at home. And it's also like a tradition. That stadium's always vibe to it. You know, not always a positive vibe. We know the history of like a lot of the hardcore Mexican fans, but they always bring definitely a home field advantage to Azteca Stadium. So I'm liking Cruz Azul to win that one also handily, and I'm liking it 3-1. Those are the 3 teams that I like: New York City FC, Seattle Sounders, and Cruz Azul. And let's make some money, guys.
I go to TJ to put my bets in because 8 years after starting Sports Betting Weekly, it's still illegal here in California. I can buy any kind of weed I want, but I can't bet on anything. So I'm down at TJ, and I get there, and it's like the weirdest thing. It's a Saturday morning, but there's nobody in the streets. There's no traffic. Mexico is so much different than San Diego. I didn't know what was going on. I'd never seen it this empty. It was made Christmas morning look busy. I get in the sports book and I open the door, and the place was wall-to-wall packed, and the roar was incredible. They were playing Germany in the World Cup. Mexico was.
Yeah, that was the one that they actually beat Germany in the first. It was 2018, I think. 1-0.
And oh my God! Wow. And I was there for a goal. My beer shook like there was an earthquake in the sports book. My beer shook and like was spilling over the sides when Mexico scored. They are passionate, to say the least.
Yeah, Chucky Lozano scored that one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes this season with them. And the qualifiers, we might be talking about qualifiers next week, so it'll be a fun weekend.
You mentioned the hours, and it's hours. On a week during the football season, I got to be up to 20 hours that I put into.
With football, I think football's the most bet on. New York just legalized it, and your handle in the second month that it became legal in New York was astronomical. I think y'all had the highest handle of any legalized sports betting in that month. So during football season, I'm sure you got the Jets, the Giants.
I think what I heard New York actually spent in the first month of legalized betting was over $70 million.
I used to take some bets myself, right? And the crazy part is that people think like legalized betting is going to take away with all the bookies. And it's not, because the bookies provide credit. So there's always going to be the bettor that wants to go on credit. That $70 million does not include everything taken underground. You know how much more money's bet? Even like me, I bet on Bovada. Overseas offers a lot more options too, like just what you can get from even MGM, wherever you're betting. When you bet on these offshore accounts, they actually offer more. So there's so much more betting that goes on that's not even on the books or calculated. It's an insane amount. The time we put during the season, I know you're big on soccer, Hector. I'm sure you put in a crazy amount of time. Same for me for football. This year's going to be kind of cool when football's back. I hate the World Cup not being in the summertime. I think like that's just where it's supposed to be. When there's only baseball, it gives you something else. But this year, it's going to be football. We're going to have college football winding down. NFL is going to be gearing up for playoffs. We're going to have basketball, college basketball, and we're going to have the World Cup.
The second week in a row, the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, the Weekend Crunch, you're getting a physical geography lesson because when the World Cup is winter here, it's summer half of the world. So
it is crazy.
Let me get back to the hockey. So what happened is last week, we said we're going to focus on the Rangers and the Islanders, the Knicks, the Nets, and the Big East, and see if we can give these guys on the East Coast, the winners, they're going to watch the games anyway. Might as well have a little juice on them. We haven't done well. We've done very, very well so far talking to you guys. But what we looked at with the Islanders and the Rangers was they had a hockey guy on. So I read my notes, and it matched exactly what Blackhawks Wes was saying. So the Islanders Sunday, they're on a back-to-back tomorrow, and they're playing away. Now, their last two back-to-backs, they had a home game, they lost 3-0, and an away game, they lost 5-2. They've got outscored 8-2. Tonight, they're playing the Kings. Tomorrow, they're playing Anaheim. Now, Anaheim has lost 5 of 7, and in their last 6, they've allowed 30 goals. If the Islanders were never going to win a game ever on a back-to-back, because back-to-backs are hard, and Wes, he sits around waiting for back-to-back games, and the goalie changed. They give the goalie the night off because he had played the night before. With the Rangers game Sunday, it's also a back-to-back. Now, remember, hockey, right? You mentioned it, Earl. The Islanders specifically, and a lot of the teams have lost a lot of games because they weren't able to play because of COVID, and to get those games in, that's going to be a lot more back-to-back, so we got to pay attention. But since the All-Star break, they've only played 4 games, but they're 3-1. The Rangers had 2 weeks off. So Saturday, they're playing Pittsburgh, who's lost 3 in a row and given up 14 goals in those 3 games. And Sunday, they're at Vancouver, who's won 4 of 5. If the Islanders were ever going to win a game Sunday, it was the game they were going to win. With the Rangers on Sunday, it'll be interesting to see how they do. If they win today, I'm coming back with the Rangers as well.
Hockey is a big betting sport now, more here than anywhere else, because a lot of people don't like to bet basketball because basketball, it's flip-flop. Some people bet on points. I was talking to one of my friends. The only time he bets basketball is he bets on the points per the game, so he bets that there's going to be over 220 points. There's so much that can happen in basketball, really, in the last minute and a half.
I had a game where I needed 18 points, and there was like 37 seconds left. It was an NBA game, and I said, well, tear that ticket up now. I was betting online. I didn't have the ticket up because I didn't have a ticket in my hand, but I would have probably tore that ticket up, and it went over. Because
foul after foul after foul.
Yeah, they hit a 3, they fouled. They hit a 3, they fouled. It was amazing. They scored like 27 points in like 38 seconds.
It is crazy. It was like the last 4 minutes of the divisional game with Buffalo and Kansas City, where it was like 27 points. It was ridiculous. And you look at basketball. I would never bet on basketball because my friend was telling me he likes to bet all sports, especially now that it's legalized here. And he told me the only time I bet on basketball is for sure I know both teams are going to either score over 100 points. It's either going to go over the over or go under the points. And besides that, he will not bet anything else, especially R.J. Barrett. Who would have thought that R.J. Barrett was going to have one of his best games of the season against a great Miami team, great defensive Miami team?
Basketball is a game of runs. You really have to withstand. The Knicks have really cost me a lot of money this year. I was on them against the Nets when they were up 26, looking pretty good. I'm not learning my lesson. I believe in R.J. Barrett. I think he is the best player on New York. I believe in Tibbs. I think he's got a good system, but it's not working. But, yeah, when you're up 26 in a basketball game in the third quarter, you should be good. That's what basketball is, though. It's really a game of runs. When I have action on games, I typically don't follow my basketball games. It's really weird. For Saturday morning, when I have money on Fort Wayne, I'm watching Arkansas, Kentucky. I'm not watching that because I know I'm going to watch a good competitive basketball game. I'll check my bets after. It doesn't make a lot of sense to check in basketball because you can start the 13-0 run and then all right, now you're on a 15-3 run on the other side. So I'll check the final score, then get back to it the next day with my research. But basketball is the toughest sport to bet because of the amount of runs that you go on. You don't have that in football. Football is more of a control. I know you had that Buffalo game, which was insane, but it's one of those things where you're going to get this a lot in basketball, up, down, up, down. And now with the NBA, everybody wants to sit and rest, and somebody's going to have COVID, somebody's tired. It's a tough sport to bet.
Or
the
some
NBA
people,
is a tough sport to bet.
Or some people could be like Kyrie Irving, who has an opportunity now to play home games and says, you know what, the mandate's over, so I don't have to play still. So figure that one out. You don't know what player's going to play. I think he's going to play, too.
I think he's going to play.
Jonathan's right on, because Jonathan is not the first or the second NBA handicapper that I've talked to recently said, right now, you got to go light. So here's some Knicks stats. In the last 9 games, the Knicks are 1-8 against the spread. And believe it or not, they beat Golden State. That was the only team that they covered against, and they won the game. They're 7-2 over. Everyone that plays the Knicks scores 111 points.
Figure that one out. When they were a great defensive team last year, they were a top 4 team.
Real pleasure, guys. I got to take off. See you next week.
All right, go get him, Hector. The dude sits at games. He does the color. He's the color analyst on soccer games. So when you talk to him about soccer, it's a whole different level of talking guys. Soccer guys are like talking to NBA guys or fantasy guys in football. They just know so much more than you would ever dream of. It's just so interesting to listen to them. The thing I wanted to mention was when you see a run like that, 1-8 against the spread, 7-2 over, most people don't put it together. I see parlay. Bet against the Knicks, take the over, bet a parlay, 6 of 9. 6 of 9 parlays is a lot better than 55% straight bets, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, 55 bet. Yeah, I will parlay. I do parlay, but they're not where I make my money just because to me, you got to win. You got to win multiple, win my one game and cash my ticket. But I do parlays. When I go to Vegas, trust me, I parlay a lot of stuff just to get more action.
That's why I don't bet on sports, guys, because even though I know a lot about it, I'm not going to throw myself under the bus where I'm going to lose a ton of money. But
plus, it changes the way you watch the game.
Yeah.
As Jonathan mentioned, I don't watch unders. I'll bet them, but I can't watch them. However, if you turn on an under in a football game, like with 5 minutes left in the first half and it's 7-3 and you got the under, the rest of the game is joyous to watch because if the under is like 47, you're in great shape. It changes the enjoyment in the game, especially if you're losing.